In the harsh expanse of the Mexican desert, the transformation begins. Heavy machinery reclaims the arid land to forge a foundation for life. Precision excavation carves the blueprint into the parched earth, preparing the structural roots of the facility. To counter the shifting sands, a layer of crushed stone is laid, ensuring a stable platform for the tonnage to come. Liquid stone fills the reinforced molds, solidifying the perimeter against the desert's shifting temperament. Structural steel rises from the concrete, the skeleton of the farm taking shape against the horizon. Heavy lifting equipment positions the massive roof trusses spanning the width of what will become a controlled biosphere. Galvanized purlins are secured, linking the trusses and creating the grid that will support the protective shell. To combat the desert's 45-degree scorching heat, a thick blanket of fiberglass insulation is rolled out. White reflective metal sheets are secured on top, deflecting the solar radiation and sealing the structure. The sides are enclosed with sandwich panels, creating a thermal barrier that isolates the interior from the external extremes. Precision cutouts are made in the rear walls to accommodate the heart of the ventilation system. 10 massive industrial fans are mounted, designed to pull air through the tunnel at hurricane speeds when needed. At the opposing end, cellulose cooling pads are installed, the passive lung of the evaporation system. A plumbing network connects to the cooling wall, ready to saturate the pads and drop air temperature by degrees in seconds. 3-phase power cables are pulled, bringing the energy required to automate every aspect of the chickens' lives. The brain of the operation, a Rotom central climate controller, is wired to manage temperature, humidity, and feed. A mountain of compressed rice husks arrives, the preferred bedding material for its absorption and insulation properties. Inside, a specialized machine spreads the husks into a uniform 15-centimeter carpet, softening the concrete floor. The feed delivery backbone is assembled steel pipes containing spiral augers that will transport grain the entire length of the house. Bright yellow feed pans are snapped onto the lines, designed to dispense precise amounts of feed without waste. Parallel to the feed, the hydration lines are hung, featuring stainless steel nipples that release water only on demand. A filtration and dosing unit is plumbed in, ensuring water purity and the ability to administer supplements remotely. Dimmable LED lighting is suspended, critical for controlling bird activity and simulating day-night cycles. Sensors for temperature and humidity are strategically hung, the nerve endings that will report back to the central controller. To counter the desert's plummeting night temperatures, industrial gas heaters are installed to ensure the brooding area remains tropical. Outside, a 20-ton feed silo is connected to the auger system, a towering reservoir of nutrition. Before life enters the environment is sterilized, a formalin mist coats every surface, eliminating microbial threats. The doors are sealed tight. The facility incubates in the fumes for 24 hours, ensuring absolute biosecurity. The waiting is over. Technicians initiate a full system test, verifying that fans and pads respond instantly to commands. The heaters roar to life, raising the floor temperature to 33 degrees Celsius, mimicking the warmth of a mother hen. Dawn breaks over the desert as the transport truck arrives, carrying thousands of one-day-old lives. Workers swiftly move the plastic crates into the warm interior. Speed is essential to prevent thermal shock. The lids are opened, revealing a sea of yellow down. Hundreds of chirps signal the beginning of the cycle. Gently, they are tipped onto the paper-lined floor, feeling the solid ground for the first time. Instinct drives them immediately towards the warmth of the heaters, finding their comfort zone. A technician observes their spread. Even distribution indicates the temperature is perfect. Clustering would signal distress. They discover the starter crumble scattered on the paper, high-protein fuel designed for rapid early development. The nipple drinkers are lowered. A single drop of water attracts a curious beak, triggering the first vital hydration. A Newcastle disease vaccine is misted over the flock. The chicks preen their damp feathers, ingesting the protection. Rigorous quality control involves inspecting a sample chick to ensure the yolk sac is absorbing correctly. Based on observations, the infrared heaters are raised slightly to fine-tune the floor temperature. The first 24 hours conclude with a mortality check. Every loss is recorded to track the flock's viability. Hygiene is paramount. The initial paper waste and packaging are gathered for immediate incineration. Ventilation is increased slightly to flush out carbon dioxide buildup from the heaters, balancing heat with fresh air. Day 3. The brooding partitions are pushed back, granting the growing flock more territory to explore. The automatic feed system engages. The augers spin, replacing manual feeding with mechanical efficiency. Pellets travel down the line, cascading into the pans, with a distinctive rattle that summons the birds. The chicks swarm the pans. Eating is now their primary occupation. A technician gently feels the crop of a chick. A full soft crop confirms they are eating and drinking well. Electrolytes and vitamins are mixed into the water supply, a boost to their developing immune systems. Day 7. A sample group is weighed. Hitting the target weight now is crucial for the final yield. Individually, each chick receives a Gumboro vaccine drop in the eye. Labor-intensive but vital protection. As the birds grow taller, the water lines must be raised to keep the nipples at eye level, promoting good posture. Metabolic heat increases. The ventilation controller ramps up the fans, exchanging the air volume more frequently. Workers rake the rice husks to break up caked areas, keeping the bedding dry and preventing ammonia burns. Fresh husks are added to wet spots. A dry floor is the first defense against disease. Day 10. The yellow down begins to give way to white feathers. Their bodies are changing rapidly. Outside, temperatures hit 35 degrees. The cooling pads activate water, darkening the cellulose paper. Hot desert air is pulled through the wet pads, instantly chilled before entering the house. Remote monitoring allows managers to observe behavior without disturbing the flock. Day 14. The diet shifts to grower feed. Larger pellets with adjusted nutrition to support skeletal growth. A feed truck replenishes the silo. The transfer creates a cloud of grain dust at the intake. Air quality is monitored strictly. Ammonia levels are tested to ensure the litter is performing correctly. Inlets are tweaked to optimize air velocity, throwing fresh air to the center of the house before it settles. Rapid growth demands strong support. The bird's legs thicken, building the frame for heavy muscle mass. Day 21. The floor is now a carpet of white. The flock moves as a single organism. Preventative medication is dosed into the water lines, a targeted strike against potential parasites. Midday heat triggers full tunnel mode. Wind speed inside the house reaches 3 meters per second, creating a wind chill effect. The birds instinctively lie flat against the cool litter, spreading their wings to dissipate body heat. High-pressure foggers engage. Micro droplets flash, evaporate, pulling more heat from the air without wetting the floor. The mist hangs momentarily, a visible curtain of cool air drifting over the flock. Constant fan vibration loosens bolts. Routine maintenance tightens the structure to prevent catastrophic failure. Water filters are purged of desert sand. A clogged line in this heat would be a death sentence. Day 28. The average weight hits 1.5 kilograms. They are on track. The menu changes to finisher feed. high energy density to pack on muscle mass in the final weeks. The sound of thousands of beaks hitting plastic pans is the rhythm of production. Stunted birds are removed. In a precision system, uniformity is the metric of success. Power failure in the desert means death in minutes. The backup generator is inspected and primed. Fan belts are checked for tension. A slipped belt means lost airflow. The perimeter is sprayed for flies and beetles, vectors of disease that must be kept at bay. Day 35. The birds are physically imposing. Broad chests indicate excellent muscle development. The scale confirms a weight of 2.2 kilograms. The conversion ratio is optimal. A final blood sample is drawn to check for avian influenza antibodies, guaranteeing a safe food supply. Light intensity is reduced. By limiting activity, the birds conserve energy, directing it solely towards final growth. Veterinarians conduct random skeletal assessments, ensuring proper calcification of the tibia to support the bird's rapid growth. To prevent skeletal fatigue, a liquid mineral complex is dosed directly into the water supply, fortifying bone structure. By day 40, the external desert environment becomes hostile with ambient temperatures, spiking to a searing 48 degrees Celsius. The facility's defense is a bank of 10 industrial exhaust fans, roaring at full capacity to purge heat from the structure. On the intake side, cellulose cooling pads are saturated with water, transforming the dry desert air into a cool, humid breeze. Inside, the flock pants to regulate body heat, but the controlled microclimate ensures they remain active and continue feeding. Technicians maintain a 24-hour vigil at the climate control station, scrutinizing temperature metrics to prevent heat stress. Hydration is critical. Staff inspect line pressure at the furthest drinking points to guarantee water availability for every bird. A compromised valve creates a wet spot in the bedding. Immediate identification and repair prevent bacterial growth. To remediate the moisture-hydrated lime is applied to the affected area, neutralizing acidity and drying the litter instantly. Day 42 marks the end of the cycle. The feed supply is cut to empty the bird's digestive tracts, a crucial step for sanitary processing. The entire automated feeding system is winched up to the ceiling, clearing the floor space for the catching teams. The flock reacts to the change in environment, their attention drawn upward as their familiar food source disappears. Water lines remain active, now infused with vitamin C and electrolytes to hydrate the birds and mitigate stress during transport. As the catching team arrives, the main lights are cut. Dim blue lighting is activated to calm the birds and reduce their visual acuity. A specialized transport truck carrying modular crate systems maneuvers into position at the loading bay. The professional catching crew, outfitted in biosecurity gear, enters the low-light environment, moving quietly to maintain the calm. Portable partitions are erected to compartmentalize the flock, allowing for controlled catching without causing mass panic. Using a humane, low-stress technique, catchers secure birds by the legs, gathering 4 in one hand with practiced efficiency. A human chain moves the birds rapidly from the deep barn to the loading door, minimizing the duration of handling. At the threshold, birds are placed into ventilated transport crates, which are immediately stacked and secured. A forklift handles the heavy lifting, raising pallets of loaded crates onto the flatbed truck with hydraulic precision. The silence of the desert night is temporarily broken by the collective vocalizations of thousands of birds in transit. Once fully loaded, the cargo is secured, and breathable tarps are engaged to protect the flock from wind chill while allowing airflow. The convoy departs, wheels churning up the desert sand as the livestock heads to the processing facility. Inside, an eerie silence reclaims the barn. The floor is left covered in a thick layer of organic waste and spent bedding. Cleaning begins immediately. A skid steer loader enters to scrape and push the accumulated manure and husks out of the building. The nutrient-rich waste is loaded onto dump trucks destined to be repurposed as organic fertilizer for local agriculture. Before washing, high-powered industrial blowers dislodge dust and cobwebs from the ceiling rafters and walls. Every surface, including feeders and drinkers, is stripped of grime using high-pressure water jets. A specialized heavy-duty foaming detergent is applied coating the facility in a white blanket to break down organic biofilms. Fire hoses are used to flush the emulsified waste and foam into the drainage system, leaving the concrete bare. Drainage channels are manually scrubbed and cleared to ensure no pathogens linger in the wet zones. While the floor is still damp, disinfectant lime powder is broadcasted to sanitize the porous concrete surface. A terminal insecticidal fog is deployed to eliminate any vectors hiding in crevices before the barn is sealed. Finally, the large doors are thrown open, inviting the searing, dry heat of the desert to bake and desiccate the facility naturally. Miles away, the waste truck navigates the arid landscape, passing fields of cactus that thrive in this harsh ecosystem. At the processing plant, the cycle of the bird concludes. Crates are unloaded onto the intake conveyor system. Workers swiftly hang the birds by their feet onto the moving shackle line, isolating them for the stunning. The line dips the birds into an electrified water bath, rendering them instantly unconscious before processing. A high-precision automated blade performs the cut, severing the major arteries with millimeter accuracy. The carcasses proceed through a hot water scalding tank. The heat relaxes the follicles, preparing the feathers for removal. Rows of rotating rubber fingers beat against the skin, stripping away the feathers in seconds without damaging the meat. Now, stripped bare, the chickens pass through a high-pressure cold water shower to rinse away loose feathers and debris. Robotic arms perform the evisceration, scooping out the internal organs and presenting them for inspection. A veterinarian inspects every organ pack as it moves along the synchronized conveyor, rejecting any signs of disease. To ensure total hygiene, a vacuum nozzle removes the lungs and kidneys remaining in the cavity. The birds drop into a screw chiller, a massive spiral bath of ice water that rapidly lowers their temperature. Core temperature is brought down to 4 degrees Celsius, arresting bacterial growth and locking in freshness. Exiting the chiller, the birds are rehung on a drip line to shed excess moisture before grading. A computer vision system weighs and grades each bird, automatically dropping them into specific bins based on size. Skilled butchers break down the carcass on cold tables, separating legs, wings, and breasts with surgical speed. The cuts are placed into barrier film and vacuum, sealed, removing oxygen to preserve color and shelf life. Automated labelers apply tracking data, ensuring every package can be traced back to its specific farm and processing date. The retail packs are organized into branded cartons, ready for distribution to global markets. Pallets are moved immediately into the blast freezer, where temperatures of -18 degrees Celsius lock in the quality. A refrigerated container truck docks at the sealed loading bay, maintaining the cold chain integrity. Forklifts efficiently stack the frozen pallets inside the container, maximizing space for export. The heavy doors are swung shut, and a numbered security seal is applied, guaranteeing the cargo remains untouched until delivery. The shipment begins its long journey across the desert, driving into the setting sun. Back at the farm, the sun rises on a pristine, empty barn, disinfected, dry, and rested. A truck carrying fresh rice husks arrives at the gate. The preparation for the next generation begins immediately.